Hello and welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. So we have a bunch of levels to do and a bunch of loot to give out, but before we get into that I want to talk about the boss from last episode. So I called it an auto lose boss. I wasn't necessarily meaning you were going to automatically lose to it 100% of the time. I know calling it auto lose was a little bit odd in that case, but here's what I'm meaning. It's similar to something like the first boss in Dark Souls. If you go through Dark Souls, basically it gives you a boss before it's done pretty much any tutorializing. It just throws you right in there and it says, hey, here's a boss. And you're expected to lose to that boss, and you're not really expected to fight it until you run past it and go through the tutorial. You can beat it, but that's not the expected path. I assume that if we were to redo the Baphomet fight, and we were to position differently, I mean, one of the problems is that four of our party members were prone and one was dead or something? Anyway, we're in a pretty bad spot, but if we were to spread out at the start of that fight so we didn't all get hit by the same AoE, we targeted different people in the previous fight, we had different buffs on, we could probably have beaten that fight, or at least put up a good, attempt at it. But the game obviously expected that you were meant to lose that fight, because they had the condition in there to, save you in that case. They had Nocticula turn up and just auto win the fight for you at the end. So that was all I was meaning from it, so I just thought I'd clear up the terminology. Anyway, let's do some level ups. Actually, before we do level ups, we're going to hand out loot, and the reason we're going to do it this way round is in case we get loots which affect the level up, which I believe that we might actually have for Areelu. Now this is the first one that I noticed, so that's why we're doing this one first. The bracers. Right. Whenever the wearer of these bracers confirms a critical hit, the enemy must pass a fortitude saving throw DC 29, or suffer from a random condition from the following list and become immune to other random conditions from the same list for 2 rounds. The condition list is blinded, exhausted, frightened, sickened, paralyzed, prone. Now I do have a question with this. If I hit somebody with this, right, and they get, let's say, blinded, does this mean I can't paralyze them using a different thing? Does this mean I can't make them prone using a different thing, or does it only mean the item? I assume it only means from this item, but it could mean that you can't do it from somewhere else. Just like, if we check Ember, her 2 sleeps, you would assume that the sleeps would work, against all sleep, like you wouldn't be able to use it again. Like if I use Restless Slumber, I wouldn't be able to use Slumber on the same enemy. But it's actually tied to the single use of it, as in on the single ability, rather than, the global sleep condition. So, anyway, that was just my thought. But the reason why I think these would be good for Areelu is, one, her current stuff just simply prolongs prone, stunned, and staggered, and the DC is 23, which most enemies are just naturally passing nowadays. And this one works really well with somebody who's doing a crit build, and a lot of what we've been working on for Areelu is crits. So, it seems like a natural thing for her to do. Now the reason why it might not be good is if it works on a condition basis. So if you hit them and then they become immune to that condition list, the reason why it might not be good is currently she has exhausting critical on. So if we have a look at this and one of its condition list is exhausted, so say we blinded somebody, it might cause her exhausted to not go off, which would be bad for us, but hey, I'm going to assume it doesn't work like that. And if it causes trouble, we can always change it back, or change it to something else, or just take it off. But hey, that's the first item. The next one is this, the Undying Love of the Hopebringer, which has just a ton of stuff written on it. I believe it has another effect underneath this, so let's have a look. Oh, right, it has a ton of stuff. That is a lot of lore. Alright, let's scroll all the way down and get to the ability first, and then we'll figure out how we want to use this. This is a +5 spike shield. This shield also has a +5 enchant bonus to attacks and damage made by it. It's good. Once per day, the wielder can choose to assign light or dark aura for this shield. Light aura. All enemies in a 30-foot range are under the fairy fire effect. All companions gain a +2 insight bonus to saving throws and skill checks. Whenever an enemy lands a critical hit against the wearer or companion, the enemy must pass a fortitude saving throw, DC 30, or be blinded and slowed as per the slow spell for 1d4 rounds. Okay, that's a pretty good start. Additionally, any healing applied to the shield bearer will also heal all party members for 1d6 plus the shield bearer's level. So say we had this on us right now, so that would be 1d6 plus 17. So about a 20 heal. That's not bad, and that's all party members, right? Regardless of range. Yeah, so you're getting about 20 health every time you heal the main character. Which, I actually just thought there, if you use an AoE heal, like we use Darren's AoE heal, it would heal the main person, which it would then AoE heal everybody, then you get an extra 20 on it. That's very cool. Okay, what's the other one? Dark Aura. All enemies in a 30-foot area have a -2 penalty to initiative. So I guess you'd need to have that on before you go in combat. Okay. All companions gain a +2 profane bonus to attacks of opportunity and critical hit confirmation. Whenever a companion lands a critical hit against an enemy, the enemy must pass a will saving throw DC 25 or be under the sleeping effect for 1d3 rounds. All curses, poison, diseases, and mind-affecting spells have their save DC increased by 2 for enemies and companions. Very important line, or a bit at the end of this line here, and companions. That is not ideal, because that's something we've been struggling with. If it was just for enemies, this is OP. Because it says and companions, I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to use it. Anyway. If the wearer is of good alignment, the shield gains holy quality for all attacks with the shield. Additionally, for a standard action, the wearer can use the Light Nova ability. It deals damage to the wearer equal to 25% of her HP, and heals everybody by 40 HP, or everyone by 40 HP, and deals 20 damage to all enemies. By everyone, I have to assume it means all party members, not everyone, because otherwise it would be very weird, because it would heal the enemy by 40 and then damage them by 40, which just doesn't seem right. If the wearer is of evil alignment, the shield gains an unholy quality for all attacks with the shield. Additionally, as for a standard action, the wearer can use the Dark Nova ability. It deals 20 damage to all of his companions and the chosen of the Dark Nova effect, while all enemies in a 30-foot area receive the Prey of the Chosen. Under Chosen of the Dark Nova effect, companions receive +5 bonus, a damage bonus against the Prey of the Chosen. If the wearer is of neutral alignment, the wearer can use both abilities. However, if the wearer has used one ability, the wearer can't use the other ability until the rest. Okay, that's a lot in there. So I think Light Aura is straight up better. The reason I think Light Aura is straight up better is because it has no negative. It's all positive, right? Everything in Light Aura is good for you. The healing is good, the Fairy Fire effect is good, the Insight bonus is good, the having enemies do Fortitude saving throws or being blinded and slowed is good. All of that's fantastic. Dark Aura would be comparable right up until this last line where it says, or these last two words where it says, and companions. That's where this stops being good. Because having your companions more affected by poison, diseases, and mind-affecting spells is awful. Unless you have a way of negating those. So say we had a way to become immune to curses, poisons, diseases, and mind-affecting spells, suddenly this becomes good again. But we don't, so that's fine. Going through our shield users, I think all of ours are good. Sociel is good, we're good. Camellia doesn't use shields, she uses lighter things. Yeah, and Sela only is good as well. So I don't think we have a user for this one that is evil, so this doesn't matter. But I do think that this is better anyway. We don't even have a neutral person to use any of these. Anyway, now we have the lore, which is equally as long. An adventurer once made a pilgrimage around the world in an adventure, collecting catalysts and rare items. From travelling high places, from climbing the tallest sacred tree to delving the chasms of the underworld. From searching for loot within the dungeons and caverns to climbing misty peaks of mountains, slaying mighty creatures larger than his own size. From his labour, he managed to search and obtain rare items such as a piece of bone from an elder dragon, an alloy bar that has been blessed with holy and unholy, a twig from the world tree that's been blessed by the elemental spirits and the druids, and the abyssal water that reflects the constellations in the starry sky that can be obtained hidden in the labyrinth deep underground, guarded by putrid fleshy monsters. By the time the man had collected all the ingredients, he decided to gather a selected group of people for one last adventure with his old team to create his own legacy. 3 remote areas, from melding them together in the hottest furnace inside the heart of the volcano to the lonely, somber, cold mountains, condense his material without letting it fall apart in sub-zero temperatures, then lastly in Tranquil Lake, where special waters cleanse the impurities and allow the ore to keep most of its foundations. Finally, back in his workshop, he began to heat up the furnace and started to hammer on the anvil. The magic from the furnace flared and sparked off many colours as he kept hammering the mould for many days without stopping. Each hammer reminded him of the days of adventuring and obstacles that he'd overcame. From exploring the dungeons, discovering and learning new skills along the way, sailing for new horizons, to listening to his own exploits sang by the bard, little by little he imprinted a part of himself and little remaining of his own life force onto his masterpiece, until he finally completed forging something that could truly reflect himself, the undying shield of the Hopebringer. Now, I don't want to be rude to this, and maybe I'm just reading it weirdly, but this didn't flow off the tongue like normal text does in this game. This felt a little bit odd, and the way that this is written also feels a little bit odd. Like, it's written a little bit inconsistently, it's got odd, weird bits here. Usually these are just like cut and paste from a, like a lot of the time these are just cut and paste from, you know, default Pathfinder stuff. This feels to me like it could have been a Kickstarter item. Now, I don't know that for sure, but it feels to me like this might have been a reward for, spend this much and you get an item in the game kind of stuff. That's what I'm thinking for this, but maybe I'm just reading it wrong. Maybe it's a random aside. Who knows? But that's what I'm reading there. It seems good either way. It just feels a little bit odd. Now, do we want to use it? We actually have a lot of weight available on us, like a lot. Our carrying capacity is huge, so we could use it. What does our current one do? Whenever the wielder of this +4 buckler becomes the target of a spell that does elemental damage, even if such an effect was prevented by spell or elemental resistance, it gains immunity to the corresponding element for 1 round. Okay. Now that I look at that, that should probably be used by someone else, like Camellia. And the reason it should probably be used by someone like Camellia is because our cold effect would hit it, which would then make them immune to cold. That seems good. What's the other one that we've got? This +3 light shield emanates a cursed aura. Whenever an ally adjacent to the shield wearer is attacked, the enemy must pass a will saving throw or suffer a -3 attack penalty on the next attack roll. DC 21 is barely worth using anymore. Well, that's a straight up replace. Now the question is, which one do we want to be our main weapon and which one do we want to be our main weapon and shield, and who do we want to have use it? Whenever the wielder of this +3 longsword wields any shield in the other hand, that grants the wielder an additional +3 damage to attack rolls with this longsword. Or this one, which whenever it can tear the soul of a living creature, whenever it lands a hit, it deals additional 1d6 force damage. I don't know. Maybe we make this our main group. What's the damage on each of these? So this would do more damage if it's against a living creature. Yeah. Maybe we make this our normal weapon setup, and we keep Finian around so we can change it later. That might be what we end up doing. Yeah, the buckler I think needs to go to someone else, potentially. We'll think about it. Unless of course her buckler is really good, but we'll see. Any other new stuff here? Amulet of Natural Armor isn't new. Is this one new? Belt of Thunderous Charging. +2 bonus to bull rush and overrun maneuvers, which we don't use. When aware of this belt charges an enemy, the enemy suffers a -2 penalty to AC against range attacks for 4 rounds. This seems like it could be an item for you. You currently have a Giant's belt, so that's just a straight upgrade. Not even using a cloak at all. That's kind of funny. We should probably give him like a Cloak of Resistances, if nothing else, if we find one. Right, what have we got next? Beacon of Carnage. This +4 breastplate grants its wearer DR2. It increases by 1 for each enemy in melee range of the wearer, but no higher than 5. That's perfect for him. That's actually perfect. He loses the damage against flank creatures, which doesn't happen that much. He does have the outflank ability. But it's not like that's a consistent thing. But the fact that his dex is currently 3 means that he's not losing a dex bonus, he's gaining an armor class, and then he gets DR... Let me just see, so that means that he would get up to DR5 if he's surrounded by 3 enemies? That's pretty good, yeah. I think that's for him. He now looks truly evil, which wasn't really my intention. Oh, I also just realised he could wear this cloak. It's not very good, but he can wear it. Whenever the wearer of this cloak lands a killing blow, they are affected by the greater invisibility spell as if it was cast by a 15th level wizard. In addition, the cloak grants a +10 competence bonus to stealth skill checks. Well, I mean, it's not that good for him, but I mean, it's fine. He does have stealth, so 33 stealth is not the worst. Yeah, I mean, this is fine for him. Greater invisibility, something he wouldn't get naturally, so that gives him a little something something. Earthbreaker is not needed. None of this is needed. This is all trash. And then if it's Midnight Bolts, I must have looked at things before here. What's that? Wearer gains a bunch of resistances to many things, and then saving throws. I'm fairly certain we looked through this one. Yeah, and everybody already has rings they can't get rid of. That's fine. Cool. Sort by type. Just seeing if I've missed anything horrible there. This is a throwing axe, right? Hand axe, yeah. Although, is it a finesse hand axe? It is finesse wielding, so actually isn't good for him. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave him where he is. Nothing else here seems that amazing. Gloves aren't amazing. Helmet's not needed. Cool. I think we're fine. Amulet of Natural Armor 5. Also, I don't think's needed. So yeah, we're fine there. What's the other one we've got here? Grants immunity to acid, makes enemies sicken for 1d3 rounds upon landing a sneak attack, unless they pass the fortitude saving throw of DC 26. Now he does do sneak attacks, but I actually think this one's going to be better for him overall, the one he's currently got. Cool. Right, we'll do a quick save. Should activate that just while I remember, even if it won't apply to the next area. And let's do some Mythic level ups. Wait. Wait a second. Why's it got him there? Let's back out. Why is the
I tire of waiting.
Animation not working either? Right, Mythic level ups. What's our next level? So we get a ton of stuff, but what I really wanted to check... No, it'll be easier than someone else. We get a Mythic ability this level. Okay, cool. That's better. This still isn't moving, which is very worrying to me. I'm just going to back out and quick save. Just in case it's the sign that the game's about to crash. Right. Aeon. Let's go. So, in Aeon, we get an Enforcing Gaze improvement. So is this a... So it says that we get an improvement at 7th level for this. What do we get? What's our benefit? Can be used one mythic... can be used 1 plus mythic rank times per day. I don't know what benefit we get from this, but maybe we get a benefit somewhere else from this one. Yeah, it doesn't really say. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we get a new Enforcing Gaze. Maybe that's it. Because we have selected damage reduction, so we might get a new one. That might be it. Mythic Suppression. So at 7th level, distorted mythic demons no longer get a saving throw to resist, and non-distorted mythic demons don't get a bonus on the saving throw. Very cool. Aeon Companion Immunities. At 7th mythic rank, Aeon power is great enough to protect his allies from impurities. All of its allies gain in 30 feet radius gain immunity to poison, disease, and confusion. Now you see, that is very much making this shield a lot better. Because if I look at the shield here, and we have a look at this part of it, where are we? If we're on evil, that's the wrong one. So, poisons, diseases are right away taken out. So it's just curses and mind-affecting spells. Now, mind-affecting spells is actually the one I'm mostly worried about, but the fact that these two are just completely removed from the equation is quite nice. Yeah. Although it doesn't actually say what the radius is for the allies stuff here. Although, It might be 30 feet, just judging by the first part of it, but anyway. Yeah. It's still pretty good. Still pretty good. Right. So we get that. We get a new mythic ability. We get Aeon immunity, so we're immune to curse and death effects. This is fantastic. So that means we don't need to death ward ourselves anymore, so we have other people we can use death ward on. What's also nice about Aeon companion immunities is we no longer have to reapply that poison buff, so that's one that we just don't need to reapply. That's fantastic. Actually, confusion as well. That is a mind-affecting effect, so that is cool. What's a level 9? I'm just checking. Immunity to all mind-affecting effects. So actually, if we keep this shield to level 9, it suddenly becomes incredibly good. Okay. I mean, it's still good, but I mean, like, it becomes even better because we can use the dark side of it. You summon 2 gold golems instead of 1 gold golem. Nice. Okay. Well, we'll have that one. We need the mythic ability now from it. So abundant casting isn't necessarily needed because it doesn't affect mythic spellbooks, and that's the one we care about. A 1 is no longer an auto miss, doesn't really matter because our 2 hit isn't high enough where that matters. Archmage armor doesn't really matter. Ascended element, we don't use elements, we don't use summons that much. I don't want to become unable to move and be staggered. Your healing is not affected by common limitations. Nope, don't care. Don't have natural attacks. When you deal critical damage with your ranged weapon attack, doesn't matter. When a spellcaster hits you, you can teleport to them, doesn't matter, that's not what we do. Ranged weapon, doesn't matter. Domain Zealot, I mean, it could be what we go for at this point. Elemental Barrage, doesn't matter. Emergency Help. Teleport to an ally is less than 30 hit points. Not how we play the game. Every time you damage an enemy, they gain a +2 mythic... Okay, every time you damage an ally, sorry, they gain a +2 mythic bonus on attack and damage rolls. Yeah, I don't want to use the trick where we use this in the armor that we have, but we could. You're always ready to unleash extra attacks. Whenever you make an attack of opportunity, you gain a bonus to the attack roll and damage roll equal to your mythic rank. So, +7? That's pretty cool. Yeah, and it increases the number of attacks of opportunity. I like this one. What's the difference between Domain Zealot and Impossible Domain? Use the abilities of your domain as a swift action. And then Impossible Domain is you get a new domain. So what are the abilities of our domain? I know I look through this every time, but it generally means I'm not using them if I don't know what it is. So I just want to check if they're worth it. Class? Is that where we find it? Yeah, Law Domain. Alright, yeah, we get the thing where we can make all rolls an 11. Okay, that's fine. And then we can give our weapon the axiomatic special weapon quality. Don't really care, basically, was on that one. Okay, cool. Continue leveling. So that doesn't matter. Impossible Domain is the one I thought it was, so that could work. Your allies within 50 feet of you gain a bonus equal to half your mythic rank plus 1 to their initiative, their saving throws against mind-affecting effects, and their concentration checks. That's nice. That's a nice one. Every time you hit a target in melee combat, you leave a mark on it. Any ally attacking deals divine damage equal to 1d6 plus your mythic... per your mythic rank to the target. So 7d6. Only one ally can leave a mark on a target at a time. Okay, so you can't have all your allies having that on. It might be useful for us to have if we don't find anything. Don't rage. Don't want to magically nullify ourselves. Spellcaster. We don't polymorph. Mythic charge is okay. We don't have shadow spells. We don't use ranged weapons. Rupture restraints. We don't get affected by those anyway, generally. Thundering blows is okay. So when your melee attack misses, you deal 2d6 plus 1 per 2 mythic ranks. So that will be... what? 3 extra? So that'd be 5d6 sonic damage to all enemies in a 10-foot radius. That's also very nice. That's basically, this is 5d6 a turn. This one is 7d6 a turn, but we have to hit. Okay. Unrelenting attack is okay, but it's not really as much damage as you would like. Unstoppable. Again, it doesn't tend to affect us, so it's Thundering Blows or it's Leading Strike. Although Thundering Blows is that is 5d6 AoE versus 7d6 to a single target. I think I'm going to go for Thundering Blows. I think that works for us. Ah yes, so we get a new Enforcing Gaze at this level. And remember, we can apply 2 of these at a time, so that is good. You grant your allies summoned unit bonus to Strength, Dexterity, Con equal to half your Mythic rank. Enemy summoned units who fail their saving throws are instantly banished. Once activated, it lasts till the combat ends, at which point all the bonuses immediately disappear. So you can basically give our allied summoned units bonuses. I don't think we need that. Temporary hit points equal to twice your Mythic rank. What, 14? And the enemies who fail their saving throw suffer a 1d6 per 3 Mythic rank each time they hit any target with one of their attacks. That's potentially very good. Your allies gain a bonus on concentration checks equal to your Mythic rank. Doesn't really happen that often. Enemies who fail their saving throw have to make a concentration check each time they try and cast a spell. That sounds like that could be fun, but I don't think that's quite right for us. Spells have their cast level increased by 1. All spells and spell-like abilities cast by your enemies who fail their saving throw have their cast level reduced by the same amount. Or 1 per 3 Mythic ranks, so that'd be 2. And then attack. All your allies have their attack rolls increased by 1 plus 1 per 2 Mythic ranks. So that'll be 4 overall. And the enemies will get the same penalty. That is really nice, actually. I think Enforcing Gaze attack is probably better than save DC, to be honest. Yeah, damage reduction plus attack. That gives us a huge ability to just start dealing damage to people. Right, so these are level 2 spells. We don't need level 2 spells. These are completely unnecessary for us. If I was to use any of them, what's most likely? I guess inflict moderate wounds in case we happen to come across an enemy that happens to be weak to that spell. That's really the only one I could see us using. So, that's fine. Next up is a level 3. Level 3's got hot competition. It's all fantastic. It has to be something like remove blindness, right? Because that's the only kind of thing I could see us possibly using. I mean, everyone's immune to poison as well, like anyway, as long as they're within 30 feet of me. So, yeah, that's fine. Level 4. So we have Dimension Door, True Form. Yeah, none of this is needed. Shout, I think, is the only one we have a potential of using. Again, I don't think we're going to use it, although it's not affected by spell resistance, which increases the chance a lot. Then level 5. Now, these are new ones. Absolute Order. Functions like command, except it affects multiple enemies in a 30-foot radius, and activates and activities continue beyond the first round. At the start of each commanded creature's turn after the first, it gets another will save to break free. If the creature failed the initial saving throw, when it succeeds a saving throw to break from the spell, it deals 2d6 divine damage per cast level for disobeying your order. Cool, thematically not useful. As a swift action, you suppress any negative mental or physical effects on the target for 1 round per 5 caster levels. Cool. Useful. There's not really much. Actually, that is just useful. Supernova. You create a raging supernova for the number of rounds equal to your caster level. Each effective target must succeed on a fortitude saving throw or become blinded for caster level rounds. Each round, all targets in the area are dealt 2d6 plus caster level fire, and divine damage reflex half. Okay, that's not that much damage, but it isn't affected by spell resistance, and it has a blind potentially. Zero State. You try to dispel every effect from every creature in a 30-foot radius, gaining plus 10 in the cast level check to the spell. That's just, I want everybody to be, to have no buffs. Everybody, you know, in the entire fight, basically. Okay, interesting. Are any of these likely to be used over that? Thought Sense is kind of useful. Breath of Life. This will take Breath of Life and Thought Sense. Yeah, the rest of these aren't that needed for us. Cool. Right, and then in here, we're going to say... Where have we got? Is there anything new in this one? I thought we had a slot free for new spells, but I might be wrong. I'm going to take that off for just now as well. Put this one in. I think actually hitting enemies is one that we struggle with. I have to choose light or dark aura. Hopefully it doesn't keep me having to apply these every time. It probably makes me apply it every time we want to use it. That's kind of annoying. Right, what's this? Summon gold golems. Summon gold golem. These are separate? Okay, I think they use the same like pool anyway, so I don't know why you would ever want to summon one when you can summon two. Right, I'm trying to figure out what spells I can move from places. Not that one. I thought I had spaces for spells, which is why I'm trying to figure out what's filled the space. Maybe we just didn't have spaces. I still don't use Mythic Suppression. I do know it exists though, so I could move it off of our to use list. Yeah. This one I never use. I probably should. Anything else like not being used? I don't really use Divine Power. I get the feeling I should though, because every time I read it, I never remove it. Let's get rid of Remove Paralysis. That gives us at least a space. There's only really one spell I want moved into like the main spell list, which is this one, because that seems incredible. Although I do need Thought Sense added to our buff list. Maybe we'll take away Iron Golems and put in Thought Sense. There we go. Just add it to our buff list. Cool. And how many spell uses do we get now? On Aeon. So we get 2 per day, 3 of that one, 4 of that one, 5 of that one. So I think we got an increase in some of them, but not in all of them. Okay, cool. Quick save. That seems like we've done quite an improvement to ourselves. I was also just looking at this sheet. Okay, that isn't our shield. That's for a second when we were lined up like this, I thought that was our shield, and I was seeing what was happening with it. That's actually our. Yeah, that's where we rested, I think. Okay. You. Okay, you get Mythic ability. Let's figure out what we want you to do. Leading Strike could be good for you, potentially. We need to remember with Leading Strike not to take too many of them, but it could be good. Are you... No, that's penalty the target takes from AC relative to their size. For a second there I was like, oh, it's also only for ranged weapons? Yeah, let's ignore that one. I was thinking there for a second, I was wondering whether he counted as small or medium and whether that would matter for the bigger they are. 1, I think he counts as a medium-sized creature, and 2, I don't think it matters, so that's fine. We'll ignore it. He doesn't have Mythic Charge? I've been acting like he had Mythic Charge all this time. What did I take? Flawless Attacks? Oh. Yeah, give him Mythic Charge. The Divine Damage, 1d6 per Mythic rank? That's why I've been charging all over the place with him. Yeah, easy choice, because I thought he already had it. Also, I need to heal Woljif just so that it stops doing what it's doing currently. Can I just check? No, it only healed Woljif. Interesting. I guess because we're not negative on health, it didn't act. Because I was trying to see whether my theory that if I did a heal, it healed us, would it then heal him twice? Whether that worked, but because we're not lower in health, we can't actually test it. Okay, that's fine. Woljif. Let's go for one of your level ups. What do you need? I don't know. We do want to use more spells with them, and we're getting close to the point where that's actually going to happen. So that could be good. We could take something like... what is it? The one I was looking for was Ascended Element. We could choose one of those, and then it can't be prevented, which might still be useful for him. Yeah, if we can figure out a spell where that would be useful. Abundant Casting potentially could be useful if we want to use low-level spells. Elemental Barrage could be good. I don't think he's enduring spells. He doesn't use ranged weapons. Yeah, I think for him, our choice is Mythic Charge, Leading Strike, Ever Ready, or it's probably Ascended Element. Although Archmage Armor, if you cast Mage Armor on yourself, it gives an additional armor bonus equal to your Mythic rank. So he gets an additional 7 armor from that. Am I reading that correctly? Does he have that available for him to cast right now for me to check?
Ask nicely.
He does. Cool. So right now, his armor class is 24. He doesn't have mage armor on. Mage armor gives him +4 bonus to AC, so he would be on 28. Okay. So in theory, he should be on 35 if I take that. That sounds really good. So let's try it. Mage armor. Okay.
Who, me?
35. That's not bad. That's very comparable. Like, we're at 37. I mean, I'm sure we still have some buffs to go, but like 35. That's a tanky character there. Okay, I'll take it. Wait, does that give him it to everything? No, because it's an armor bonus, so it wouldn't give it to touch. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, easy choice. Darren, you're going to be more difficult. You're a spellcaster. So, what have I been giving you? Improved abundant casting, improved abundant casting. I think it's greater abundant casting is what I'm looking for now. Oh, look at that. 7th, 8th, and 9th level spells. Easy choice. Don't need to think about it. There's not like there's new things on the list each time we go into it generally, so yeah, him being able to cast more of that level of spell is great for him, because how many spells does that give him at like 8th and 9th level? It gives him 8 spells per day. That's great. I mean, he uses Angelic Aspect Greater, and then he has 7 of these spells to cast in combat. That's huge. I mean, this one's not so huge. I mean, it's mostly destruction, but still. Like at this one, he uses his 2 buffs, and then he has 9 uses of heal, or say. That's really useful. Cool. Now, for Ember, I do have one that's been on my list for a while. I think it might be time for us to start getting enduring spells with her, and maybe take more things that work with that. I mean, Heroism Greater is a fantastic buff, which would be good to apply. Ice Body would be good for Ember to have, because it would make you immune to ability score damage, blindness, critical hits, disease, drowning, electricity, poison, stunning, and all spells or attacks that affect physiology or respiration because you have no physiology or respiration while the spell's in effect. You can't drink and thus can't use potions. Actually, not even a negative. Right. And then you get unarmed attacks that your unarmed attacks deal extra damage, but that doesn't really matter. Point is a ton of buffs. She could start using Enlarged Person if we felt that was useful. It probably is useful on people like Greybore, for instance, because he doesn't really care about the minus dex. The -1 to attack and AC doesn't matter too much, so we could do that. Mage Armor doesn't matter too much, but that would go to... Actually, that doesn't matter. No, it would make it last another 7 hours or so, which doesn't matter too much. Mirror Image would become a 24-hour spell. You know, there's a lot in there that's good. We can apply Beast's Gift to everybody, so they get a bite attack, so they get extra attacks. There's a lot good to be said about her having enduring spells. So that's what we're going to go for. Now, they have to last longer than an hour, but shorter than 24 hours right now. Last 24 hours. So we'll take it. So it's not going to be great immediately, because obviously these aren't lasting longer than an hour. But eventually it'll be really good. I mean, it would work for Mage Armor, but I mean, it doesn't matter because it's on hour per level. Let's see if it actually affects anything right now. I don't think it does, but next time we get a Mythic level up, then she'll be able to use it on everybody. Yeah, we'll probably take it as the Mythic feat as well. Unless we feel like we're going to get 2 in a row again, which I think is unlikely. But yeah, she's looking good. It also means that we have more things that we can take on her when it offers us, like, spells, because we can take more buffs, potentially. Although she's a little bit full on spells currently, I would say. Right. And then Arushale. Arushale, what are we going for you? So I've basically just been taking all the ones that affect ranged weapons. So I suspect I might do the same thing. Now there is an argument that she should also have enduring spells. She is technically a spellcaster. She has buffs which last minute per level, and I don't use them because they last a minute per level. So these could potentially be good on her. I'm not sure if they are, but they could. They could be good. I mean, can I see her class? I wanted to see how many spells per level she gets. Can I see that? Yeah. So at level 18, she's still at 433. Does she stays at 433? So she'll never get more spells than she has right now. Okay. Good to know. So she's kind of maxed out on spells. I'm trying to think if there's anything I would use if I had more. I guess I could use more of these like aspect spells that give us bonuses to things. Yeah. Blessing of the Salamander, that's not going to last for long enough, but you know, there's some in here that we could use. I suppose Shield of Dawn, that's round per level. Animal Growth, we don't use because it breaks the game. Like literally breaks it. But yeah, there's a few buffs in here we could take. Why do I not use Longstrider Greater? Grants you plus 20 enhancement to your movement speed. Because I take Longstrider there, why would I not take because I'm currently using the poison one. But it doesn't matter. Okay, we can move this, yeah. Because it doesn't matter that she has the poison one, because we're now immune to poison. So yeah, that seems good. That's hour per level anyway. But yeah, like this 10-minute per level one actually, from the moment we take enduring spells, would last. Like, they're not incredible spells, but they would work. Yeah, there's definitely some positives in here. Effortless Armor would also be 24 hours, so we could start taking that instead of taking Sense Vitals. Bark Skin we could take to apply to everybody if we felt that was necessary. Yeah, there's some stuff to this. I think I'm talking myself into it. I think I might take Enduring Spells on her if there's nothing else. So let's see if we've got anything that's better than Enduring Spells. That's the next obvious place, right? If this is the one I think is best, let's just compare it against what else we can get. So we could get the bigger they are. So you gain bonus to your attack rolls with ranged weapons equal to the penalty to AC the target receives from their size. Now, I would argue if the target is receiving a penalty to AC due to their size, that we won't need the extra to hit because they'll be large and easier to hit. Rupture Restraints could be okay if we want to not be CC'd, but that's not necessarily a problem. Last Stand is really good. Yeah, it is incredible. Expose Vulnerability. Every third hit with a ranged weapon against the same enemy deals 1d6 plus 2 mythic ranks divine damage. Or per 2 mythic ranks divine damage. So that'd be 3d6. She does 6 attacks around, I think. So that would be an extra 6d6 per... is that just hits? Yeah, it would be 6d6 per round, assuming she hits all 6 attacks, which doesn't happen very often. You're always ready to unleash some extra attacks. Yeah. I think I'm going to take Enduring Spells. I think I'm getting to the point where I think more buffs would be good. Right. And that is us fully set up. We have every single thing we could have taken. We do probably need to do a rebuff before we head through here, because the likelihood is it's going to chuck us into combat. But beyond that, I think we're ready to go. I can actually here get rid of Longstrider, because Greater Longstrider is what I'm going to take. In fact, in here as well, I can go into Spellbook and get rid of Longstrider, because we're taking Greater Longstrider. I took multiple Hurricane Bows and multiple of these. I don't use any of this. Let's take another Entangle for me not to use that as well. But hey, there you go. Right. I'm going to end the episode there. Thank you for watching. Next time we go through the portal, I'll see you then. Goodbye.